May has been such a weird month. I don't even know what goddamn day it is today. But I do know that we are doing our book review and we have the amazing Ethony Dawn with us today. Hello, Ethony. Thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
And of course, the book we're going to be reviewing today is Become an Exceptional Tarot Reader, which I have here on my little Kindle app right here. Um, and Ethany's done a couple of books, and when it came to choosing the one that I wanted to feature, I actually let her pick it. I figure the author is usually the best judge of which book they want to talk about at any given moment. So this is the latest book, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I've also just to do the thing. My first book was Your Tarot Court in 2019, and then my second book with Llewellyn was Tarot Grimoire in 2024. And because I wanted to give myself a straight up panicky attack, crying every day, I wrote two books back to back because in 2025 this bad boy came out in December. So um, yeah, that was crazy.
Yes, I've done that a couple of times. I don't recommend it.
Chaos.
So let's get stuck into this book. So one of the things I did notice about this book is it is Rider Waite Smith based. Is that a choice you made, or is that a choice that the publisher made?
Oh, that's a choice I made. So I'm a Rider Waite Smith girly, uh, first and foremost, because it was the system that I um, learned on. So my first paid tarot teacher was a Rider Waite Smith teacher. So, and when I first found the tarot, I didn't quite realize that there were like different modality or different like types. The
Hmm.
tarot say. I just assumed that they were all kind of interchangeable. But yeah, the Rider Waite Smith was what I learned. It was the most readily available for resources around. You can still find lots for the Tarot de Marseille and the Toth, but I actually don't love Crowley's Toth deck. And so it was my choice because it's what I teach, it's what I read every day. So yeah, that's since I was 15. So it's been a hot minute.
Yeah, and I think there are actually more resources around for Rider Waite Smith decks, period. I do feel that they are the more dominant decks in the marketplace. Um, so yes, if you are coming to this book, do know it is Rider Waite Smith based. Now, one of the things I am going to talk about right away, which I am just going to give you like an elephant stamp for, is the amount of work that you have done in this book on reversals. Because, I did write a whole Bible on reversals that nobody ever wanted to read, but it is one of these things that I think we cannot avoid in our tarot readings. So thank you for including that. What was your reason for it?
So, okay, so funnily enough, I am one of the people who don't read reversals. But I respect that as a teacher and as someone who has been, I'm like, I'm a tarot teacher, I'm a tarot reader, I'm a tarot professional. Just because it's not my personal practice does not mean that I should not be adept in it and being able to teach it and speak to it for people who do.
Hmm.
Because it is a side by side, of reading tarot. It's not something like it's like reversals aren't computer engineering. You know what I mean? So it's like they work in conjunction together, and so. But that's because of people like you, people like Mary Kay Greer, who like her and I are actually we're very good friends, but we we disagree or always have very different views on a lot of stuff, which I love. We should be able, about tarot. We should be able to have that in our friendships. I think she's still a decent human being. So, like, as in, okay, I want to rephrase that. We don't disagree on, how to treat people, humanity, people are people. We don't disagree on like moral stuff. We just have very different things about tarot that we do. So she reads reversals and says read reversals straight away. But it is because of teachers like Benabel and books that and other people have done. I'm like, well, I'm not going to ignore it nor not write to it because I don't particularly do it. I can do it, and I've done it before, read reversals in my practice. So I mean, and Rachel Pollack is the same, right? She talks about it in 78 Degrees of Wisdom. So it's something that I felt like if I'm going to stand there and say I'm a tarot, I don't want to say expert at it, because I don't think we can be an expert in anything. I think we're all at Eight of Pentacles always, that I have to be able to put my money where my mouth is. And when I'm teaching or when I'm mentoring students or whatever it may be, and a reversal comes up for them, I need to know what I'm talking about. So I don't want that to be ignored, whether you use it as a reversal, a deepening, a shadow aspect, a warning, a block, whatever, because I talk about that too. At least the information is there should you so choose to use it.
Yes, and I love that, even though you're not someone who reads them, because I do think that like just ignoring them completely does a bit of a disservice to people who are learning the cards.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the other thing that I wanted to discuss with you was the numerology and the way you've set it out in this book, because I was kind of curious that that you put so many different categories, and we'll get to this in a minute, for each card, but the numerology got its own section rather than be wrapped up in the cards themselves. What was the decision behind that?
So I based the decision on how to lay out the book exactly how I would like to teach someone to read the cards. And for myself, the major arcana, yes, the numerology comes into it. And there is practices in the book on finding your major arcana card and all that kind of stuff. But the numerology really shines in the minor arcana, especially the ace to 10 of each of the suits. It's there that they sit on the tree of life. It's there that they lend more of its throughway of the numbers in each of the card sets. Some books, like Barbara Moore has a few tarot books that are, as you go through the suits, they're all in the threes, and many people have done that with different decks. So I wanted to separate that out so that when we started to hit the minor arcana, you can go back and say you're getting stuck on a lot of threes, or you have a lot of fours in your reading. That's going to come into play, because they're really, I mean, this might not be everybody else's point of view, but for me, because their titles are 4 of, 5 of, and the major arcana are titled as in proper titles, the minor arcana is really where the numerology shines. So I wanted to introduce that in that section, instead of trying to overwhelm a reader and a student right at the beginning as they're trying to learn some of the bigger archetypes of the tarot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just curious, because I'm like, oh, wow, we didn't get this in the... So let's talk about this, because the way you've laid this out for each of the cards is really well done. So you have, in every single card, you get an upright keyword, an upright meaning, love and relationship readings, career and finance readings, how to use this card for health and well-being, journal prompts, and then reverse keyword. Reversed meanings, how this reverse card could be in a love relationship, career, health, well-being, and journal prompts. And that to me is like some real heavy work on each of the cards, because I did something in much smaller detail when I wrote the guidebook for the animal totem.
Oh my gosh, I love that fucking deck. I need to get another. I unfortunately, side quest, because I'm a Gemini and I have ADHD. I need to get another copy of that deck, because I unfortunately got it when it first came out with that terrible cardstock. But fuck, I love that guidebook, Lisa. Oh my god, that guidebook, chef's kiss. And I love the Mermaid Tarot. I love so many of the decks you worked on. But yeah, I seriously need to get another copy of that fucking deck. Sorry, go on. Just snaps for that deck. If you don't have it, everyone, what are you doing? It's so, and the artwork, and I'm not a huge animal deck person.
Especially because we can't write guidebooks like that anymore. We're not allowed to. There's too many words.
Oh, really?
But, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, but I like what you've done with this, because this book is actually called Become an Exceptional Tarot Reader. And I do feel that in order to advance your tarot reading skills, you do need to hit on these topics because these are the ones that are going to come up again and again and again. Love, money, career, health, and well-being. So was that what you were thinking when you kind of planned these out a little bit?
Oh, 100%. Like Teresa Reed, who is like a staple in our industry. Like I feel like it goes like Mary, Rachel, Teresa. That just for, like is so instrumental in my mentoring. Such an amazing badass, and has written like a billion books, and is a astrology fucking powerhouse. Like I remember when we started working together, decades ago, and she's like, "Look, people come to the tarot to get paid or get laid. If you think you're too good to do tarot readings for people about their career and their money and their relationships, and don't be a fucking tarot reader." And I was like, yes. And then I extended it out to the others because that is we saw a tick or a swing over the last decade, I'd say, and maybe you can reflect on this with me, about people using it more for introspective, reflective, like their own spiritual journey. But that base, getting laid, getting paid, that kind of sacral chakra, root chakra, life on earth shit is never going to go anywhere. So
Right.
I wanted to have those specifically so that also you can go into the book and get a card and say you've got temperance and it's for work. And you're like, well, I mean, a lot of the time this is also called like the angel of healing, or, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it looks like a very peaceful card, even if you don't know jack shit about the card. You can read about the actual card itself, and then you're not necessarily, as a beginner, sitting there going like, well, how does that translate in? But then you could read about the card itself in the general energy of the card, then go into work and career and work, and you're like, oh, well, you know, how is my work-life balance? Am I taking on other people's responsibilities? Am I letting other people take credit for what I've been doing? Am I in an abusive relationship with my boss or people in my workplace? So I didn't want people to have to do the connections if they didn't want to. And sometimes you need a quick and dirty answer. And so it's great to be able to open it up and say, oh, right, like this is the thing. We don't always have the time to sit and contemplate our navels all the time. So I wanted to be that you could really either use it as a way to expand and begin your own library of meanings, which I think everyone should be doing,
Yes,
or
absolutely.
quick and dirty, get in there and get some inspiration and then let that be the launch pad for what you're going to connect it to in your life.
Yeah. And the health and well-being, that definitely has kicked up in the last couple of years for sure. Doing tarot for more healing work or counseling or therapeutic work. And for those who don't know, I wrote a book about that too, if you're interested. But I do think that social media has actually changed how we interact with the cards,
Great.
because for the very first time, and I think over the last 7 years, but a real pickup in the last 4 years, we're starting to see how broad tarot is actually used. Whereas before it felt like it was really closed, and if you didn't do it this way, you were kind of left out. And if you only read this way, you left out. But now we're seeing there's so many ways to use the cards. So it is one of the things I really did love about this book, is that you've actually slotted so many of the ways that we are now seeing it used in public so that people can learn, which kind of brings me to the astrology component of this, because the astrology is important in this book as well.
It is, yeah. And I created a deck and book. I don't have it in front of me right now. Called My Muses of Tarot, and I presented it at Reader's Studio, and I think it was 2018, 19. I can't remember off the top of my head. And it was basically, you know, 13 different types of tarot readings. And I'm really fucking proud of that book still to this day. I feel like that's something I need to, you know, work on. But it was like 13 different ways you can use the cards for different types of readings. And yeah, I love that there's so much adaptability, and the tool is wonderful. Even though I was taught as a divinatory reader, I was taught to read the cards in a divinatory fashion when I was taught. and I read that way. I am a predictive reader, as well as whatever anyone wants to do. If they want to do counseling or they want to do whatever it is, I can do all that. But core of me is a predictive divinatory reader. It's awesome to see that there's so many different ways to do it, and all are just as cool and amazing and expansive and joyful, and everything is whatever you want to do. It's a tool. You use it how you want to.
Exactly. And that brings me to the exercises because, I was looking through this whole book and I'm like, where are the spreads? Where are the spreads? Where are the spreads? Because I am so used to, and this is a problem when you're also an author. You get very biased on how you personally set out a book. And I'm like, where's the spreads chapter? Where's the spreads chapter? And I had to keep going back because for those of you who don't know, I actually have this in ebook form. And I just recently got rid of my iPad, so I am actually looking at it on my phone, which
Oh, girl,
probably
I need to just send you a physical copy, unless you've got no room on your bookcases, because
I've got no room on my bookcase. And besides, I do like my tarot books actually in ebook form. It's actually a bit easier for me to research.
Okay.
But I was like, my old eyes have no right looking at shit on a phone. So but I did find them. There are literally spreads all the way through, but you call them exercises, and they're at the end of each section. Do I have that right? At the end of
Yes.
each section?
Yeah. So because again, I wanted to do this as if you're building your skills from scratch, and even if you're a person who's done tarot for ages, let's be honest with each other here too. How often, I mean, I read so many tarot books. I do so many one-card spreads.
Yeah.
I read so many guidebooks. Like, I love seeing what everyone writes and how they are inspired. There's nothing wrong with going back and firming up your foundations on the tarot. And I'm doing a tarot, oh my gosh, what's it called? I'm doing a tarot book study, like a book club. So myself, I'm doing it with this book, and we're up week 3 is this week, and it's 11 weeks with me, and the amount of depth that we're getting on top of this book is crazy. But yes, they're in there as well. So they're in the actual chapters as a way to build your skills. So we start with, the getting familiar and feeling into tarot, as in the imagery and everything, and then it's 1 card, 2 card, 3 card, 5 card, 7 card, and then there are like the wheel of the year and the astrology readings at the end. And I talk a little bit about creating your own spreads, because I do that for my tarot clients. Every tarot client I create a specific tarot spread for their situation. And Tarot Grimoire is literally just full of, I say that, I'm not opening it to any, full of tarot spreads and tarot spells for every card. So yeah, this one is more like the full tarot course, the full tarot biscuit, you know what I mean? But yes, they're in there.
I think you just said something that I think separates people who get stuck in a practice and those who are constantly expanding and deepening a practice. I too read so many books on tarot, and I read every single guidebook I get. So if I get a new deck, I read the guidebook. Now, some of the guidebooks are not inspiring, and that's okay, but some of them can be really good. And I do think that really is the difference. And that's one of the reasons I do this blog, so I can promote further education in tarot. But the thing that separates really good readers and teachers is the level of education you continue on doing, because tarot in and of itself is something you will never know.
Yep.
And having written shit ton of books and created a whole bunch of decks, I still don't know this system, because every time I sit down and come to it, it's different. It has a new language, a new message, a new lesson, a new teaching. And you've done a lot in this field too. Do you feel the same way? Like each time you come try a new book, you go, I don't know anything about tarot. What the hell is it?
I'm so utterly consistently inspired by my students. Like, the conversation we had last week on the book study was like, we just dove so hard into like the first 7 or 8 with the full cards of the major arcana, and the stuff that came up around, you know, how the positive aspects of the Emperor are sometimes like not embraced by the people who see themselves feminine people, or people who identify as women or mothers. But it's like every time you protect your child, you are being the positive male aspect of the Emperor, right? Every time you take action on behalf of your child, Aries, you're doing that. Every time you protect their boundaries or you help them have their own, you're doing that. So, and then we talked about the lovers, and so we just do it, and it's just like I'm so inspired by what also I get the privilege of being witness to every single time. And one of my favorite decks last year, and I've sung this deck's praises, is the Verdance Tarot by Stephanie Law. And the guidebook is so bloody good. Like, that deck is so fucking gorgeous. And I just read that guidebook from like start to finish, and I went deep. I was just like, don't talk to me. I'm in mystical fairyland. Come and get me later. So yeah, and I agree. Any field that you are in, if you are not constantly working on your skill base, whether that is, you know, as a tarot reader, learn how to be a good communicator, learn how to be a better listener, learn how to deliver difficult news to people without placating them. Like, I honestly think that most tarot readers would benefit from training and counseling and things like that, because I tell you,
yes,
yeah, I think it can be a slippery, dangerous slope there, but you know what can you do? Learn about relationships, learn about attachment styles, learn about how budgets work, just, you know, for yourself. You know, you have to keep growing, otherwise you become stagnant and die. Every field usually has a professional, you know, licenses have got to be redone for, you know, handling of things in all sorts of places. So
professional development is standard in majority of jobs.
It never stops, and it shouldn't.
No. Having come from a teaching background, like, I know, like, you're always, every weekend is a professional development weekend. It's like, it's just what we do. All right, so I've got to ask, when you sat down and wrote this book, who did you envision picking it up?
Everybody. That's not a real great answer, is it?
Well, beginners, intermediates, advanced, like, where did you kind of see that? Where did you pitch it?
I pitched it as like a, you know, like my I guess it would be more for, like, I would say it was like for beginners who want to have a really solid foundation. That's not just a book that tells you the same stuff. Like, I feel like, and don't get me wrong, my bookshelves are full of tarot books, and there's a lot of really, really amazing Tarot 101 books. However, I have noticed that most Tarot 101 books are very similar. They are laid out similarly. They share the same information. They have the same spreads in them. They have the same exercises. They have the same, it's very kind of copy and paste, you know, because obviously, like, publishers are going to look at what sells. So I wanted this to be different. And it's not about, well, let's just have this information and do nothing with it. This is, no, let's have this information and actually build you to be the type of tarot reader you want to be, because it's not just about learning the card meanings, it's about a lot more. And the thing that separates out everyone as a reader is how they bring their own uniqueness, nerve and talent, their own special magic to the cards to be of service to the querent, whether that's themselves or someone else.
Yeah. I would actually pitch this book to intermediate people, and the reason being is I feel like beginners are still trying to memorize keywords. This book goes real deep into actually reading the cards in real life situations. So for me, I would pitch this to intermediate readers. So if you are watching this and you're thinking about this book and you've been playing around with the cards a little bit and you're ready to get off keywords because keywords suck, this is definitely the book for you, because this book actually, Ethony has done such a great job of showing you how a card fits in a particular situation when it shows up in a reading. That's who I actually reckon it's for. And then I think, like, for advanced readers, if you have gotten a little stuck in your ways, you could probably pick this up too, and just maybe even play around with the reversal section, because I know so many people are not constantly updating their reversal skills. And just have a look at this, because, and the reason I say this is I always challenge people to think of the cards in a different perspective, or look at them, shift their perception around them, and doing them in reverse is always going to shift your perception and get you a little unstuck from your bias reading. So that's kind of who I would pitch it to, having
Well, that's
gone
awesome.
through it.
Well, thank you.
In my tiny little text and my very squinty eyes. Is there anything you've got in the works at the moment that we need to know about?
Oh my gosh. Well, instead of being a crazy person and going straight into writing my next book, I paused for a sec. As I mentioned, I'm doing the book club / study, which is still open and for registration. It's been really fun. There's a good group of people, and I've had some decks come out in the last couple of years that I do myself. So I've got a couple of things in the works. I've got a couple of decks that are in creation process. I've just written something for a project I can't talk about just yet because it hasn't been announced. But I've always got some irons in the fire. But it's always, yeah. So let's just say, like, there's a book and there's a couple of decks. That's
I would say, if you haven't picked up Ethony's, I wish I had the box, the Money Magic deck.
Oh, here, I've got the book.
I am, like, obsessed with this deck. Like, this is like one of my favorite decks that I have recently got. I love this deck. I use it every day. I use it every day.
I'm so proud of this fucking deck. Hopefully I can swear on this. Too bad if I can't. I'm Australian. Sue me. I'm so proud of this because the original came out in 2016. They were tiny little affirmation cards, and I created them to help shift my relationship with money because I grew up in a household that didn't have a lot, and a lot of boomer money doesn't grow on trees kind of like stuff, like a lot of us did. And
so Australians, we grew up different, just for those who want to know. We grew up way different.
And also depending on what generation Australian you were too. We were not even first generation Australians. So so there was that. And so I was like, I coming into I've been at that time practicing my spiritual path since I was also 15. So I knew the connection between your self-worth and your value, that your own intrinsic self-value, and what you accept in your life. And that's relationships, that's work, but that is hugely mirrored in our modern, especially Western society, because I can't speak to every other society because I'm not part of it, in money. And the crippling idea that money is evil and we shouldn't be paid for our skill set and our expertise as spiritual practitioners, especially ones who are better than most. Some of them are better than most counselors or therapists and things like that I've had come across, or had people come to me and told me what they've said, is fucking ridiculous. It's such gatekeeping. And so I created all this as a way to heal my own stuff. And then it just became this huge thing. And then the one that you have now is the final Pokemon of evolution. And I don't know if you've had a chance to, you probably have, you said you work with it every day. The guidebook is, there's exercises, there's meditations, there's a free course where I've recorded all the meditations, so you don't even have to worry about doing that step, because who the fuck's going to do that in their spare time? I give you stuff so that you're not just looking at an affirmation card and going, well, that's great. Like, oh, that's a pretty card. I create my financial reality and beautiful abundance. Well, that's lovely. But like, what are you going to do with that? It's like taking that to the next level, and working with this and evolving it over that time, over those 10 years, has like changed everything for me. So, and PS, I'm putting everyone on fucking, what's it called? Warning. Because this has happened to me before. I've released something that has been an independent release, and then publishing houses have seen how popular it is, and then they've gone and published a book that's basically a ripoff of everything that I've done independently. Yes, it's spicy, but I have fucking receipts. If someone does this, I will hunt them down and I will harm you. And I don't even need to be at your doorstep to do it.
The hex warning is upon us.
You
Yeah,
have all been warned, because it's
we've
happened
all been warned.
so many times, and I have like gone, okay, well, there's nothing new in the world and blah, blah, blah. That's true and whatever. But this has been over a decade of blood, sweat, and tears of my own, like creating something that isn't just lip service. And if someone decides to go and like fucking whatever it up, I am going to be pissed. So, and as you said, Australians are raised different, everybody.
We're raised different. We really are raised different. There's a violent streak in all of us.
And I'm not trying to say that to see like I'm the grand poobah of anything. I'm not. And I'm not saying I'm like the one person that does all that kind of stuff. I'm not. I'm definitely not that at all.
But but we creatives are at the end of our little rope here. Like, I mean, I had someone message me the other day talking about how there is a publishing company in Canada who is literally bootlegging all decks and selling them to spiritual stores in Canada. And I was like, well, don't tell me. Please tell my publisher.
Can you please send me their information? Because guess who's in Canada?
I was like, you need to tell my publisher. That's up for them.
So, or tell me, because I can tell my police force friends and get them served.
I'll see if I still have the email. But yes, we are at our little ropes, because it takes us years and years and years and years and years to put this stuff together, and then having someone else just kind of like come and scratch, take that off, and then we don't get living wages, but we're still
like
to produce.
Fucking all. Like, so you guys would all cry if you saw all of our like what we get back from publishing. Like, you would just be like, we are not John Grisham, guys.
No.
So like and that's why I'm very staunchly, very, very loudly, it's made me some, I wouldn't say like, I'd say frenemies, that I say fuck generative AI, and I will not work with anyone who uses it. I will not support your business if you use it in your marketing. I can clock it from a million miles away. I fucking hate it, because it is theft, and you can try and justify it all you want, but it is. And so, and environmentally disgusting, and funding billionaires' disgusting lifestyles. So I know that, and what I get from people is like, yeah, but phones do the same thing, blah, blah. I'm like, that does not cancel out the harm of Gen AI. It doesn't. You can't just say that. It is not cherry picking. We have a chance to fucking stop it, because they are putting the infrastructure in place right now that they cannot pay for unless we buy into it. This is different. Like, go educate yourself before you come to me because you want to justify using it to make shit slop. Like, anyway, like I said, I have made so many friends. I don't care.
And as I said, we creatives are really at the end of our tiny little ropes. It was small to begin with, but now like with its fraying edges. Okay, my dear, I'm not going to hold you up much longer.
Get this psycho bitch off this hook.
This has gone longer than our normal chats, but I have loved it. So, just to recap, we did talk about the book Become an Exceptional Tarot Reader.
I don't swear in here, I promise.
We should be allowed to. We should be able to infuse all of our books with a lovely Australian accent. I am going to say it is for intermediate readers. If you are an intermediate reader, I would pick this up. There is a lot of information in that book that's going to be exceedingly helpful for you as you move from doing readings for yourself to doing readings for other people. Thank you so much for spending some time with us and spending time with me again.
Thank you so much. And people can reach out to me on social as well if they want to share anything or ask me any questions. And I really appreciate you, and I love your work, and I've always appreciated that you like to share and uplift others in our community, and thank you.
Aw. All right, everyone. Next month we will have another book and another author, and I don't know what it is yet because I don't know what day it is, but I'll figure it out and we'll be here. All right, everyone. Bye for now.